Yeah. So last class we were discussing about like in business rules and UI actions, right? So today we'll discuss about script includes. Write it down. Script include. Write it down. Script includes are script includes are used to store JavaScript JavaScript that runs on the server. That runs on the server. Well, stop. I'll repeat again. Script includes are used to store JavaScript that runs on the server. Full stop. Next line. It is a it is a reusable reusable server-side logic. Reusable server-side logic. Okay, next line. We create we create script include we create script include to store JavaScript functions to store JavaScript functions and classes. We create script include to store JavaScript functions and classes to use in server scripts. To use in server scripts. Full stop. Classes to use in server scripts. Full stop. Each script include defines. Next line. Each script include defines either either an object, class, or a function. Class or a function. I'll repeat the same sentence again. We create script include to store JavaScript functions and classes to use in server scripts. Full stop. Each script include defines either an object class or a function. Full stop. Next line. It will be executed. It will be executed only when it is called. Just like a function actually. Write it down. It will be executed only when it is called. Called. When it is called. Next line. We can use client callable script include or server side callable script include. It depends on requirement actually. We can use either client side or server side while calling. Okay, next write it down. Types of script includes. Types of script includes. First one, on demand or classless. On demand or classless. Second one, extend an existing class. Third one, define new class. Define new class. Okay. So now let us discuss what is script include and why we are going to use this one, and we'll go with the use cases and we'll write script for each and every use case here. It's like for client callable one script and server callable one more script we will discuss today. Okay, so script include. So script include is something, let's say, let me give like in one example over here. So there is a block of code, let's say 100 lines of script which is there, which is available. Okay, so these 100 lines of script, I just need to use this even in a business rules, even in a client scripts, even in a scheduled job, wherever I need. So this like 100 lines of script is like in something which I'm going to use multiple times. Reusability is available for this. Okay, so what I can do, let's say in general, what we'll do, these 100 lines of script we'll write in a business tool, we'll write in a client script, and we'll write in a some other scriptings as well. Okay, so instead of like in doing that again and again, we can place this 100 lines in our scripting code. Okay, that can be called either client side or server side. So we just need to mention like in script include name with a function name if it is server side. If it is like in client callable, we use glide exec. Okay, so which is nothing but we are going to store JavaScript code or the lines of code, whatever it is, depending on requirement, and that we runs on a server. So the lines, whatever which you're writing over here is server side one. Okay, so script include is server side script actually. Okay, we can call that server side to client side or server side as well. So these 100 lines of script, which we are going to utilize in multiple ways. So which we call it as a reusable server-side logic, which we can say. So either we are going to create like an object, which we can call the script include class, or else a function which we can define. Okay, so this will be worked whenever we are going to call it, just like a function. So whenever we call the script include, then only it will be executed. So unless and until if I'm not going to call the script include or function which is there in the script include, it will not work. Okay, and here we do have like a client callable and server side as well. Okay, simply in normal terms, which someone asked you about, like, and what is script include? Script include is something which we are going to store, or else which we are going to mention few lines of script over there. It depends on like in more than that as well. Not only few lines, it depends on requirement. It might be like in more than 100 lines as well. Okay, so these script which we are going to store in script include, which is like in server side script which we use, and that can be called by using the function and script include name we can call from a client side or server side. If it is server side, we'll call with like a script include name with a function which is available in script include. If it is client callable, we will use glide exec. Okay, so let me go with like in the types of script includes over here. So on demand or classless. So this is something a script include that defines like a single function which we are going to use it. Let's say if I want to using like an only a one single function, then I'll go with the on demand or classless. And then second one, extend an existing class. So this is something already one script include is there, already one class is there. I'm just extending that specific one. And there is an interview question as well for you. Can I call or else can I take like an another script include stuff another script include into my script include as well? Yes, we can do so. So there is a one script include which is available. Okay, that we can call even in a R script include as well. That's what which we do, extend an existing class. We are extending the existing script include, simply we can say. Okay, and I'll show you the example for that too. And then define new class. So defining a new class is something we are going to create a new script include from by creating like a new class and functions there. That's what about like in defining a new class. Classless or on demand is something we are going to use only single function. Extend an existing class is something we are going to utilize or else which we are going to extend the another class. Okay, that's what about like an extend an existing class. So here we do have like a by default scripts also available script includes. I will show you that too. Okay, and then furthermore we do have like a define new class is nothing but the new script include which we are going to create it. Okay, so script include is something we are going to store the lines of script in script include, and that can be called via client or server side. So which is nothing but reusable thing which we can do. Okay, so let us go ahead with like and how the script include will be and how we are going to store it and how can we call from client and server side. Let's have a look. So in home page of like a ServiceNow instance, just in application navigator, just type script include. Okay, so under system definition, I have scripting to right. Open this one. See, JavaScript class libraries. We are going to mention or else which you're going to store the script over here. Okay, see, abstract ASAC processor is this is what one of a scripting code which is available. Okay, so this is what which we can use is abstract ASAC processor as a external and existing class as well. Okay, so I'll show you that too. Let me click on you. And backend value of this table is this underscore script underscore include. Okay, so this is the one, the script include new record. Okay, so here let us have a script over here. Let us write a script here and we'll call for a client callable first. And then I'll write one more new script for a server side as well, and we will execute that too. And we'll see how that will work. Okay, so let me go with like an incident table as a to show like a scenario. Okay, whenever I open any of a record or else whenever I load the form, I just need to get a pop-up over here that who is the logged in user. So who is like a logged in user, I just need to get that one. Okay, so what I'm doing over here, so I'm just storing a logged in user details in a server side, and that I'm going to call in a client side, which is going to display in a web UI. Okay, so that will do. The use case is nothing but whenever I load the incident form, okay, the logged in user should come up here as like an alert or else confirm box. Okay, so let's start with that one. So let me before going to this, let's go ahead with like an the fields available here. Okay, so here we do how I can see the name. So name is something, the script include name which you are giving over there. So the script include name might be anything. But one thing which you just need to make sure is nothing but you should not give a spaces between it. Let's say example, I'm going to showcase like an user ID, right? So this should not be there. The space should not be there. If you want to make any space, you can make like in any special characters like use underscore or anything. Okay, so make sure you're not giving a spaces in between word to word. Okay, so as of now, just if I give like an user ID, see automatically I got a API name which is nothing but global. So application the global will come up and the script include name will come up, and then new class is created. See here class is created with a initialize function. Okay, and here see application and active we already know about it, and accessible from. So here we are making it as like in whether it should only for like in specific scope or for all the scope which we can mention over here. Okay, and if I want to go ahead with like in client callable. Okay, so I'm gonna check this one. So if this script include is going to utilize or is which I'm going to use this for like an uh need to call from like a client side. I'm going to use a glide attack for this, then I will utilize client callable. Okay, I told you right, abstract ASAC processor which is available. Okay, so this is the one already which we are utilizing the existing script include over here. So simply in one script include, we can call another script include as well. Okay, so for client callable, there is like in one script include which is there. So if you want more details regarding this, just go to like a script include and check it out what the functionality of this glide ASAC processor is there. Okay, so you just can check it out like in what and all the script which they have written, everything which you can find out. See base ASAC processor class that other ASAC processor extend. So we are going to use like a client ASAC, right, for a client callable. Okay, so to work that one, so there is a default one which is available, which is abstract ASAC processor. Okay, so it's like an out of the box functionality which is available. So as of now, which we can ignore now. Okay, just we just need to know about it, that we can call another script include as well in the in our script include too. Okay. So now, so client callable. So if it is like in server side, which we are going ahead, you can uncheck this one. If it is like in client callable, you can go ahead. It's and here you will get like in one more question. So whether if I want to utilize the client callable and server side at the same time, you can uncheck and you can utilize like in same stuff. Okay, so simply whenever you're going ahead with like in client callable and everything, okay, it's better to go with like in client callable, check this one and use the client record. Okay, so here you just need to go ahead with like an client whenever this is like in checked. For sure, you just need to call this script include by using client stack only in client side. Okay, so in description you can give like in the use case. Okay, so use case is nothing but something, the scenario or the task which we are doing. So auto populating a user ID. Okay, so these things which you can mention over there. Okay, so now let us write a script over here. Okay, so I'll go with like an, understandable script over here, which you will understand very clearly. So what I'll do after this one, so I'm gonna create a function. Let's say login user. So this is a function which I have created. So just mention the function. Okay, so under this, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to return the username, right? So return gs dot glide system, which I'm going to use it, get user. So here, see, you can go with like a display name, ID, name, and all this. So I'm just utilizing now username. Okay, just mentioning it, username. And you can utilize this as well. As of now, this user ID is like a not required so far. Now here you go. So if I save it, so I'm just utilizing it like whenever I call this script include, See, this is what something which is coming. Select a user role for access control on this client's callable script include. So I'll go with like an admin so far now. Okay. So now see a new access control is this is what the new one which we got for like a new TAN. So before it was not there. Okay, so we have created one script include. Whenever I call this user ID with this function, okay, logged in username should come up. The pop-up should come up. Okay, so now we have written like in few lines of script over here, right? So whenever I utilize the client callable, okay, so this should be called in client side as well by using glide exact, right? So let us have that as well. So glide exact is something which we use client scripts. Okay, just open the client scripts now. Okay, go ahead with like a new client script. So whenever I load the form, okay, so my script include should be called for to this one, and then that should get executed. Okay, so let's give a name over here, user ID or username display, anything is fine, or user ID pop-up. So in which table we are in? Incident table, right? So just give the incident table over here. Okay, just click on this one and give incident. It's taking time to load. Incident. Select the instant and we know about it. So I can go with like an anything, and the type which I'm using is on load. So whenever I load the form, the script include should get should call to this client side, and then it should get executed. Okay, so now let us write a script here. So just go ahead with like an already the function onload is available. So what I'll do, var GA is equal to is every time which I'm using GR, right? So let's go with like in GA now. New glide record, sorry, glide ASAC. I told you which we are using glide ASAC to call client callable functions. Okay, so just give the name of a script include here. What's our name? User ID, right? Just take this and paste it over here. Okay, so before going into this, I just need to explain the glide ASAC thing. So glide ASAC allows is to like an execution of server side. Okay, so you can just simply keep the cursor over here, see which we are going to utilize to execution of server side code from the client. So it is going to initialize the abstract ASAC processor. The script include which I showed you there, right? So it will include. So if I click on this one, if I open this, okay, so you right click on that, or else you can click on control and I can also open. So the documentation will come up for glide ASAC. So whenever we are going to utilize the glide ASAC thing, so we just need to be make sure to go ahead with like in this standard format. So you just can go with like in all the versions as well, whatever the versions you want. Let me give this link to you as well so that it will be more accurate to you while practicing. So see here, this is for something which we are going to use it. So var GA is equal to new glide Azakov. So here instead of like in hello world, so this is the script include name which we have created. So we just need to mention over here. So this is a standard structure whenever we are going to use a glide Azak. So depending on like an R requirement, which we can change something over here. Okay, so here add param. So add param is something which we are going to utilize the function name. This param name, something here, the function name. So what's the function which you have created? Login user. Okay, so that's what which we use here. And like let's say if I want to get any specific field details or else any parameter details over here, then I can go ahead with, see, they are using username as Bob. Can go with, see here, the on the comments also here we can see the set parameter. So says sys param you underscore user underscore name to Bob. We are setting the value to like in Bob. Username is Bob, which they have set. And the next thing they are using like in get XML. So get XML is something, the callback function which we use actually. So the callback function is something. So there is like in one interview question there, get XML and get XML wait, two are there. Okay. So get XML is something which is available. It will go with like in step by step. It will not wait until the execution happen. If I go with like in get XML wait, it ensures that each and every step to be like an executed, and then it will go with like in the next step. Okay, so if you want like in more details regarding this as well, you can read it out over here, and we do have like a lot of information regarding this with sample script as well. Okay, so whenever you get free time, just go ahead with like in this document, glider zag, and here all the things is like an available. Okay, see, what and all the methods which is available to go ahead with like and everything which you can explore a lot. Okay, so that's how what like in when we are going to use get XML is a callback function. So this callback function, whatever which you have mentioned over here, this will be like in anything which you can. However, whatever the callback function which we use it here, that should be used over here in response as well in this function. Okay, so this is going to return the result of our server-side script. So what's the server-side script execution? We are going to return a username. But whereas in your real-time projects and also the function, so here it might be like in some other different script as well will be available depending on your task. Okay, and this is a standard line which we are going to get it to get the execution answer or result from a server side. So whatever the script include which you have written over here, this script include result or the answer will be which we are going to store in this answer, and the answer which we can print it as well by using alert message. So this is a standard one, so it's better to practice a lot, or else you can remember each and line as well. It helps a lot even in interviews and even in whenever you're working with like a script include. Okay, so let's get into like in our script, our client script. Okay, so we are going to follow the same lines of a script only from there. Okay, so we have created like in one object with the glide exec, and we have called our script include, right? So now we'll go ahead with like in ga dot add param. We just need to call the function as well, right? So sys param. If you're not confident with like in typing all this, you can copy paste from a document which I have showed you to. It helps to go with like in better results which you can get it. And whenever we have use this once is param name, so here we just need to mention the function of our script include. The function is login user which we have created earlier, right? So now let's get into like in creating a callback function, ga dot get xml. So here anything which you can mention, let's say user id, right? My id. So here we are going to get a logged in user only. Okay, so now create like a kind of function and mention this callback function with a response. And this is how which we created one function over here. Okay, and here you can directly copy paste these two lines to get an answer, or else you can type this as well. Okay, or else it's better to copy here, copy these things, and you can paste it, and according to your requirement, you can do the modifications. But whereas while practicing, you are practicing, please don't copy paste it. You are okay. So we just need it's better to type it instead of like in copy pasting, so that you know the methods whatever which is there, the standard scripting. Okay, so this will be there in your mind. Okay, so this is what something standard thing which we can use it. Okay, where answer is equal to response dot like response XML dot document element dot get attribute. We are getting the result of our script include and storing in a answer, and we are making it as like an displaying it as like an answer. So what I did right now is nothing but I'm just calling a script include and the function and making a callback function by like in my ID, and I'm calling that function with a response. Okay, and I'm storing the response in an answer. I'm displaying the answer. So here answer is nothing but the result of a script include. Okay, whenever this is executed, when this will get executed, whenever I load the incident form. Okay, so let me save this one and we'll try to execute it. So you're clear, right? Let me go back and refresh it again. So the use case for this is nothing but, so firstly, scripting to do something. If I want to reuse the script again and again, okay, so I can call either the client side or server side. So as of now, we are into the client callable. Okay, so here we just utilizing like, and we are just getting a username over here by adding this get username. So this we are going to call in a client side. We have created like an username display one client onload client script. So here we are going ahead with like an using a glide attack to display the user ID. Okay, so to do that, so we are going to utilize the glide attack with a script include name. Okay, and after that, which we are going ahead with like and see the function name as well. Okay, so the function name which we just need to utilize it, and furthermore callback function and created a response function as well, and we are storing the result by getting that attribute into the answer variable and displaying that by using alert. Okay, and one more thing, if the method whatever which have written over here is correct, the script include name which is available, then I'll get an underline over here. So check it out whether there is any extra spaces or else any extra codes or something which you have gained. So if it is like an underline is showing up, and that is a correct one even here as well. So if you want to open that one, so here you can open the script include as well. Okay, so now save the record and test it. Just open any of the incident record.
Yeah, Priyanka, we use this glide ajax only for this purpose, or else we can use this in business rules as well, Priyanka.
In business tools, we are going to use a different way. I'll show you that too.
Okay.
If for like an only client side, we are going client callable only, we are going to use a glide attack. For the server side, I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah. So now see here, you can see the username is admin, right? So the system administrator username is admin. So if I go back to like an user table for like an cross verifying. Okay, so the user ID, see here, the name is like a system administrator and the user ID is admin. That's what I got it whenever I load the form, admin, I got it. Okay, so that's how which we are getting a data from like a server side and displaying in a client side. Okay, and one more question in interview which they will ask you is, how to, if I want to get a server side data to client side, so what I just need to do? Okay, so you just need to mention like, and there is a three ways. One is like in glide attack, which we did it right now, right? We are getting a server side data into like in client side and displaying in a form view. Form is nothing but UI. We call it as like in client side. Okay, other thing is like in get reference. One more method which is there. We can get a reference fields and we can utilize it. Okay, you can check it out in document whenever you get free time. And there is a G underscore scratchpad as well. Okay, that we use in a display business tool mostly to get a data from like a server side to client side. Okay, so just note it down for better understanding, and then you can answer even in a interviews as well. One is like in glide attack, other thing is like in G underscore reference, other third one is like in G underscore scratchpad. Not G underscore reference, get reference. Okay, so that's how this is what about like in the client callable which I showed you. Okay, so let me make it as like an inactive now, because whenever I load it, so the admin pop-up will come up. So that should not come for the next example. So as of now, let me make it as like an inactive. Yes, it is. And I'll create a new script include for you guys to show you how client callable, sorry, server side should work. Okay. So for this, let me close this client script, or else make it as like an indifferent window. Yeah. So this is clear, right? So we got an admin. So let me close this one. Yeah. So this is a new one. So now what we are going to do, we are not going to utilize like a client callable. Okay, we will utilize the server side. So as I told you before, we can call it from like in both the client side and the server side as well. So client side, which I have showed you right now. Let's get into like in server side now. Okay, so it will not take much time. Just focus on this. So now here, so the name which you can go with like in anything. Okay, let's say example demo or server side, anything which you can go ahead. As soon as I click on the cursor and somewhere, the API name and the sample script will come up. Okay, so here, let's start with like in the script. So before going into this, let me go with like in script use case. Okay, so I'm going to do something over here is nothing but I will filter, I'll glide the incident record first, and then I'll go ahead with like an, whatever the priority value is like an high, let's say example, the filter condition. Okay. And the category is like in software, and these two, let's say example, these two. So I am going to update this short description and description who's having a category software and priorities too. Or else you can go with like an any another filter condition as well. Let's say example. The priority is one, is nothing but the critical. Okay. So if I want to update, so if I want to update like in any short description or any other fields, okay, by manually, what I'll do, I'll double tap over here, or else I'll open the record and I'll update it. Okay, so depending on like in these step, I just need to update the short description or any other fields depending on like in my condition by using script. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll add an incident table, and I'll filter with like in category software and priority one. Okay, if those records who's meeting the condition over here, I'm going to update the short description and description. So this is a kind of thing, bulk amount of updates which we can do by using scripting, one point. And then we are getting a server side data. We are getting like in by gliding incident table, we are getting a server side data, and we are performing the updates. Updating a record or creating a record, we can do deleting CRUD operations which we can perform. Okay, so let's do that. So what I'll do, create a object where gr is equal to new glide record incident. Okay, so this is what something you already knew. Now gr dot add query. You can take a add encoded query, or else you can utilize this as well. So let me utilize the add encoded query. And it will be easy to paste it the query. Even you guys also will understand better if I use this. Okay, so use this in a single code. So now priority is one, category is equal to software. This is the condition I mentioned. Okay, so if you are, you know, thinking about like an every time I'm using like in GR, so you can use like in any other stuff as well. Not only like in GR. Okay, let's say INC, incident. Okay, anything which you can go ahead, but the same variable which you just need to utilize every time. Okay, so querying a table over here. Okay, so now let's get into like in while use inc dot next the variable which you have used it, and here what's our intention to update description or short description, right? Gr dot sorry inc dot gives give the backend value of the fields. You can copy paste it or you can type it, but copy pasting is the best practice. Okay, so now just give the short description over here and just give testing the script include to call or script include server callable. Let's say example, anything which you can go ahead. Okay, so let me update the description as well. You can go with any field, but I'm just showing like an, the CRED operations. Here, just give like an description. Here, I just add short description. Okay, so we do have like an one method called update, right? Inc dot update to update this one. Okay, so now we are done with like in writing a script regarding this, right? So what I did over here is it's like in simple. We are just initializing the function. This is the default one which we got whenever we create a new class. Okay, so under this class, we are just creating a, and one more thing, I just need to create a function for this actually. Okay, so I just need to call the function, right? So let's say example, update description and create a function. Just make sure it should be in a flower braces. And the function should end over here. Okay, so that's how, let me make it in a proper format. So you got it right. Whenever we initialize this, so we just need to create a function so that we need to call this one. We are not right executing this directly in a business also somewhere else. We are storing this lines of script in script include, and we are calling this into the another server side scripting. Okay, so we are going to utilize this demo global.demo and then the function which is there actually. So I have used I have used inc as a variable to glide the instant table, and I have added the encoded query whose priority is one and category is software, or else you can go with any filter condition. Okay, it's not a matter. And furthermore, I'm querying it, I'm running it and using like an while and updating a short description and description to cart. Okay, and make sure whenever you are closing the function, there should be a comma over here. Okay, so now save the script include. So now script include is ready, and this should be called somewhere else. So we are going to call this in a server side. Let's take as like in business tool. Business tool is server side script only, right? Okay, so let's open the business tool over here and we'll execute. So just create a new business tool. This is really easy actually. Calling a script include from server side is easy, just mentioning like in the script include name and a function, that's it. Whereas if it is like an client side, we need to use a standard structure, this one. Okay, so let me go with the name update description or short description, anything is fine. And which table we are going to do this? Incident table. Okay, just give the incident table over there and click on advanced and when to run. So let's get into like an after business rule because it should update along with our data, right? Okay, so whenever record is inserted or updated, so this is the condition which I have used it. Actions, I'm not giving anything. In advance, here we are going to write a single line and that will call our script include and get executed. So let's say new. Here we need to take a API name. Okay, global dot demo. So why this global came up? We are in an application global. If it is any scoped application, and the scope application name will come up dot with our script include name. Make sure that as well. Okay, global dot demo. Give the function over here dot take the function name. Now call the function. We are calling this script include and we are calling this function. Let's say I have a 10 functions over here. Okay, under this I have after doing this one, I have created one more function and there is a block of code. Okay, I just need to call that as well. Okay, so I will create like in one more line of script over here and then I will call that function. So among the 10 functions, I just need only third function which I have created. Then I can copy that specific third function name and then paste it over here with the braces. Now we are done calling a script include and the function in the server side. So business rule is a server side script. So we are just creating an object with a new with a global dot script include name dot function name. Okay, save it. Okay, so whenever I create a new record or else whenever I update a record, okay, so the description and short description should change. See, so if I change something, let's say example, I have updated this one, right? And if I load this one, see, everything short description and description, all the record is like an updated here. Short description testing in script include server callable and description testing in script include server callable. So that's how which I can update multiple. So what I have done over here is I'm just gliding an instant table and taking a filter over here and updating this one. So this I'm utilizing a server side script by using like a script include. I'm saving this script over here and I'm calling by using a server side as well. So how we are going to do new global dot demo dot with our function name. Okay, so if it is like in server side callable, just need to mention a application, whatever the application might be, dot here script include name and the function name. That's it. If it is like an in case if I'm using a client side, okay, so then for sure I just need to use a glide exec. That should be like the script include name here and the function name here, and we'll go with this standard stuff. If there is like in some other stuff which I just need to go ahead with according to my requirement, we will add those as well. Okay, so this is how which we are going to call script include from client side and the server side as well. Okay, so here not only the short description and description, you can perform any thread operations over here. Okay, so that's about like in script include calling from like in server and client side, which is can be used in like in multiple stuff as well. Let's say this script include I can use this thing even in some other script as well, maybe in schedule job, maybe in like an email strips or something else, anywhere which I can utilize this one. So whenever I'm going to call the script include from server side, I'll use this method. If it is like in client callable, I'll use this one. Okay, so that's how about like in script include, and I'll go with your questions now. Any questions?
Yeah, how about the types, Priyanka?
Yeah, this is what something I showed you already, right? Types is something. Here we are going to call from like a server and uh, you know, uh, client side. So on demand is nothing but if I use only one single function. So that's what I have used it over here, right? Single function. Okay, this is what one of the type which we use. And the new class. The new class is something which already came up. See, the new class is nothing but class created. That's what. And then extend an existing class, which I have already showed you in client callable. Let me go back to the script include. There is one thing which I have showed you, right? Or whether it is like in client callable or else whether it is like in server side callable, okay, which we might use any of the stuff. See here, this is what one I showed you, right? Let me go to my one user ID. So here we are extending it, right? So abstract as a browser. So existing one, which we are already utilizing it. So the functionality which we use is nothing but the types actually. Okay, so we can use these three anywhere, even in a client or server. Okay, so mostly if it is like in client callable, we'll get a external and existing class. If it is like in server side, then one function, if I use it, then it is like an on demand. If it is like a new one which I'm going to use it, then it is a new class. Okay, so that's how which the types are defined actually. I have explained it already, but anyhow, brush upping also fine. Clear?
Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, good. Any further questions, guys? Just go to the concept one more time and practice from your end too. Okay, so if you check it out, like in we are done with like in all the scripting concepts over here. So and tomorrow and day after tomorrow I'll be traveling and I'm not able to take the classes anyhow. So from 15th we'll start integration concepts. And before today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, practice from your end. Okay, check it out like in all the concepts, admin part and developing part and everything. Just make sure you are good with like in all the concepts. Then freshly we'll start from 15 integrations. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
how many days it will take for integrations as well?
Integrations it might take like in, let me go back to like in the concepts. So here I'm going to explain like in web services and inbound and outbound and introduction to like in integrations will take one class. Okay, and REST API Explorer and Postman tool will take like in one class sometimes. Okay, and I'll go with like in bodies REST and so one more. So it hardly take one more week.
Okay.
Okay, so this real-time project explanation, I'm going to give like in my project, which I have, done in my projects. So you will get like a better understanding over there for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah.
In that, you will show the
Yeah, how
real-time
the integration,
requirement documents and all.
correct.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, all good, I guess, right?
Yeah, mainly script includes we are using for to run the code from client to server and server to client, Priyanka.
Yeah, the main purpose of using this is nothing but if there is a bulk amount of or else few lines of script, server-side script which I have, and that I just need to use multiple times, reusability. So then I'll go with the script include. Let's say if I have only one time use of this one. Let's say I just want to update this one. If I have only one time utilization, then no need to use this, right? The same script which I can utilize in a business tool as well. We have done this as well anyhow in the previous
Yes,
classes,
yes,
right?
Priyanka.
Yeah, so if I want to use this in multiple ways, it's like in multiple concepts over here, then I will use script include. Is nothing but something server side script which can be used, reusability is there, then I will go with script include. Okay, and this script can be called both the sides, client and server. If it is client, it's like in glide as arc. If it is server, just mentioning the script include name and the function. Okay.
Yeah, okay, Priyanka.
Yeah. Good then. So shall we wrap up for today?
Yes, Priyanka, and tomorrow and after tomorrow is holiday, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay.
15 will be like in the next class.
Okay.
Yeah, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye.
And